All right, so real quick, let's talk about you, Hayden. Hayden, you are the enterprise sales director at TruckBook. Um, Tell us more about what it is and why it was created.
Great question. So we are technology first and foremost, but you can kind of look at our company as three separate silos. You've got our TruckBook app, which was originally built with the driver in mind, with the sole focus being how do we maximize a truckerpreneur's business, if you will, right? Statistically speaking, they're the ones that are subject to the most out-of-route mileage or empty miles for that. They don't have the relationships with the shippers, right? This is an owner-operator that has this truck that runs out here, typically relies on a lot of load boards or brokers. And if you've been in the industry a long time, you may have great relationships. You don't need a partner to really help maximize your business. You've got it. You've got the know-how. But what happens about these people coming in buying capacity or getting into the industry hand over fist during the pandemic because we need capacity, capacity, capacity? They don't have the relationships, the experience to go back. So how does this person maximize their business? The TruckBook app, that's the one goal it was built to do, is to drive efficiency within their an owner-operators.
And what is that app again? It's
TruckBook.
TruckBook is the app, right?
Yep.
And then from that has grown the company. You're also asset based, right? And
Yes, sir.
and you're also not just the app. You're also a brokerage. You're 3PL, right?
Yep. So we're asset-based brokerage, really driven by technologies. Like I said, it's very difficult to give a 30-second pitch almost because I have two completely separate target markets essentially to where
Right,
I'm
I
not
got
really
you.
limited. But yeah, that's essentially in a nutshell what we are. We can dive in a little bit to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it you do over there at the company? What is your role?
Enterprise Sales Director is the official title, which is just a fancy term that I am trying to drive meaningful partnerships and good revenue to help us scale. My focus really since coming on has been on the larger
Shippers.
shipper. Obviously, I come in June. Ideally everyone wants to work directly with shippers. That's the ideal situation. But when you come in and RFPs are already being run for you, where do you go? You go to the people that have the awards. So I started out really targeting the much larger managed trans providers or third-party logistics providers that have these contracts, because at the end of the day, in the simplest form, we have what they're looking for. That's a truck. So
Yeah, I mean, everybody, no matter, even if you're in brokerage or you're a shipper, you're looking for
looking for a truck.
you're looking for a truck. And here it is. You got this neat. You got a couple of buzzwords in here, and I want to make sure we talk about it. You say that every relationship that you develop within the industry is never transactional. What do you mean by that?
So that's a great question. I probably shouldn't say never because transactional relationships do have a need and a place. But my goal and intention I got into logistics in 2018, and I'm just a salesperson in a very well-established organization trying to make a name for himself. So I was just shooting from the hip, throwing anything at the board, trying to prove credibility, and most of those relationships would fall into that term of transactional. There's no more depth in it than like, hey, let me quote some stuff. The traditional, a newbie, if you will, would come in and really rely on or lean on to perform. And I realized after finally getting some success and understanding, like, you can't scale a book of business or a company strictly based on transactional freight. As a salesperson that's on the customer-facing side, I have found those quote-unquote real relationships to be invaluable, whether it's somebody that I can sell to or buy from, or if it's just someone that does something very unique that complements what I do or just something different. I really like to take time to develop that relationship or that connection with that person, because I can't tell you how many times that's come full circle to where I was either able to introduce them to the perfect fit that solved a need, or vice versa. They were able to fill a need for someone I knew, a customer that I didn't do. So after COVID and everything else, I lost people that I was just acquainted with, and I was so excited to get to know more. And I think we all experienced a lot of that. I realized that I don't want to have those transactional relationships where it's simply buy, sell, order taking. Like, that's not what I do. So when I say relationships are kind of everything for me, it's trying to be more intentional with the person I'm talking to, what their real value is, and how I can help them up. Rising tide raises all ships. Iron sharpens iron.
Iron does sharpen iron. I'll tell you, you speak to relationships, and I've been in this business a while, and that is really how you get things done in making sure that you take care of their needs, and in turn, if necessary, they take care of yours.
Correct.
Right? I mean, it's always helpful that you say, hey, look, not only, hey, I know you only have these, but can you help me with this? Or hey, I got this as available. And it always opens up better avenues later. And you were saying it also helps somebody else.
Exactly.
Because we do the same thing. I mean, you develop these relationships, you get to understand people, and even if you can't fill their need, you find it incumbent upon yourself to help them get it done.
I would love to be able to provide that solution, whether it's through me or for someone I know that does. I hear what you're saying. I know a great fit for you. Have you ever heard of so-and-so? You haven't? Would it be okay if I made an introduction to someone?
Yeah, and it doesn't have anything to do on me.
I'm stepping out of it.
I mean, yeah, but you know, you're that important to me that I need you to look at them as well. And no, I get it, and that only benefits us in the long run, right? On the next person and the next person, because it always seems to make it better eventually.
Sure.
And in this business, they may go to another company, and it doesn't take long. I trust me, I've been around a while. I've seen the full circle thing you're talking about. I'm like, weren't you with? You never know. I've actually walked up saying, don't I know you from? And they're like, oh yeah, well 5 years ago I moved over to. Yeah, and it happens that way. And what's great about it is those things allow you in the door because you already have a relationship, and you can continue to grow that relationship and maybe open up the new doors in new positive ways. And I'll tell you, I think it's absolutely fascinating. Here's my favorite part, and I can't wait till here's another buzzword that you have. Why do you refer yourself as the plug? I don't know. Right. I thought I saw this note, and I couldn't wait to ask this question.
So modern day, the plug is hey, he's Mr. I know a guy.
Oh no!
That
is so me. I have said that so many times. I know a guy.
You are a one-stop You just seem to have like the right person to make it.
Oh my God! Don't tell me that's what that word. Oh, so that's what that means. I know a guy.
You're the plug. Hey, I know exactly. I don't do it, but I know someone who's
I know a
very
guy.
good at that. Let me introduce you.
Oh, I so do that all the time.
I came into logistics at Worldwide Express, and so they're massive privately owned third party. Really specializing in the LTL space. What makes them unique, obviously, if you're not familiar, is their exclusive contractual partnership with UPS. So much like a carrier can get blanket rates from their LTL partners and resell them, Worldwide Express was able to do so on the parcel. So I came into logistics, and instead of just learning truckload or one mode of transportation, I learned small parcel, LTL, full truckload, container, final mile, e-com systems, WMS, so between there, my quick stint at Global Trans, to, the jobs I've had in these past 3 years, I've been very fortunate to meet some great people, some great companies with some unique offerings and service. So I feel very equipped and informed to almost anything supply chain related, to where it's like, hey, Mr. Customer, the services I handle directly. Also couldn't help but notice you buy a ton of corrugated packaging. Do you mind me asking who your supplier is? Oh, okay, cool. Hey, I have a friend that actually manufactures for them. Since you're buying from a distributor, would it make sense if I just connect you directly to the source? They can meet your turn time and probably cut some cost down. Is that worth the conversation? Hey, yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. So I found my joy in doing that. One, because I had to figure out how to keep my competitors from coming in and backdooring me just by nickel and diming my rates. Here's a login. Quote me if I'm cheap or go with me. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to be that person when someone comes in and tries to take my business. My contact goes, I don't care if you're saving me 15%. Like, Hayden has done this, and this for us. He didn't ask for a thing in return for these other things. Like, he has brought so much value to us, at least in my mind. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. That I become irreplaceable because I am a true asset to them as a consultant, as a partner who clearly has their best interest in mind, whether it benefits me or not.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. That goes back to that relationship.
Exactly.
We're still speaking to that, right? We're still speaking to that very valued important part, and it's not just based on rates. I mean, it's just not the RFP. It's a little more than that.
Exactly.
And allows you to handle that. All right, let's go back to TruckBook real quick. Driver-centric. How do you leverage the owner-operator network, and what does that mean?
Yeah, so our TruckBook app was so if you look on the App Store, and look, you have been in this much longer. I mean, we use the word much.
You're saying I'm old.
Quite a bit longer. No, you've been in this longer than me. I'm a young gun in this industry.
No, you're good.
But
no, you're good.
Technology is not the most appealing thing to the last generation of good truck drivers. Like, typically, it's not. They're not just swimming at it looking for it. A lot of them prefer to do things the old way. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So that's been a big challenge for companies just to get adoption. Well, we did so well that we've got, I think, 15,000 reviews on both the Google Play Store, or Android and iPhone app, with like a 4.9 out of 5 star reviews, meaning the drivers, the owner-operators, the small fleet owners that are
Absolutely.
using this app, they're enjoying it. It's working.
No, I good. That's awesome.
So because of that, now we have a very dense network of 40,000 plus true owner-operators, with 150,000 total plus users, including small fleet owners, which we kind of categorize as 10 trucks or less, using this app autonomously, to where I'm not having to push emails to them or call them and try to figure it out. You know, we're using data science and our proprietary algorithms to create optimality within a driver's quote-unquote independent contractor business.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has his own needs, and he's utilizing the app to fulfill his needs, and I get it. Look, you can't be in this industry very long and not understand that technology is always ever changing and ever necessary to this industry. I mean, to me now, more than ever, when you use this kind of stuff and this apps for the driver, this now has become an information business more than it's become a data-driven business, more than it's become freight-driven.
Absolutely.
I mean, everything about this industry is completely data, and I think with the advent of the ELD, it brought up so much data to the forefront of our conversations every day that we still haven't been able to thumb through all of the data.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much of it now. Detention times, shipping times, travel times, you know, driver productivity, driver, you know, miles per. I mean, the data is endless and ever continuing to hit our field, and we're trying to jumble. Now everyone's trying to jumble and make sense of that data and that technology.
And you're running into one, how are you capturing it? Is it clean, accurate data? Is it being leveraged correctly? It goes back to, like, you know, knowledge is having information.
Is the data putting in, is the data, because we were never really good at putting data in to begin with. We just did it as we went. And now it's required that the data be as completely accurate as we can, so that we can, we can disseminate it and get good feedback from that, and it is challenging.
And it's a lack of sophisticated systems up until this point to really cap and really break down what is it that we're looking at. And now
we used erasers on our logs, and we put. Yes, we did. Reversible ink. Trust me, I know. When you say brokery is an art, what do you mean by that?
Ooh, so, I mean, you can relate to this more than I can, but I've been in this a short time, and I've never been in a true legacy truckload brokerage. I've been with larger third parties that have that as an offering or a line item, but what I have learned is that your experience and your success rate as a shipper or as a salesperson relying on your internal brokers or ops team to actually go out there, source, cover the capacity, you name it, there are levels to it, meaning you can have a very different experience no matter, or depending on who you're dealing with. And
it changes daily.
Let's see, you have a guy that his go-to move is just, you got to quote to him. It's a very simple example. He goes, oh, dat high is this, dat low is this is what we're going on. It's like, and that's the extent of what it is. And it's like, okay, well, I'm sure a lot of people are doing that. So how do you separate? Where's the skill gap come into play? Where does the experience come into play? Because if you're just relying on a few dashboards, using the numbers they give you and accepting it at face value, going, oh, it is what it is, here's what we can offer. It's like, that's an order taker. That's somebody, I can hire someone for very inexpensive to do just that. The people that know their network, they know their carrier network, they know the ins and outs of their customer base. I mean, there's so many intricacies and nuances to being a broker and doing it very well that I'm mind blown just on my own experiences of the different people I deal with. So I'm always trying to capture what was it about this person that really stood out to me and did such a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know, I mean, there's so many. It is easy to make, and it is easy to lose money in brokerage. I mean, you got to be careful with what you do. But at the ultimate end of the day, the freight's got to be covered.
It does.
And no matter how you took it or what it is, I mean, it is an art to it. I agree. I was reading it, and I wanted to hear your deal, but I absolutely believe there is an art to doing it. It's buying and selling, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're buying and selling. You're buying low and selling high. That's the ultimate goal. And
any brokerage, model. You know?
That's
absolutely right.
I mean, that's the winning model.
Yeah, it does well. It seems to withstand the test of time. So.
And I think a lot of people are going to that, but you know. The fortunate thing about TruckBook is that it also has an asset-based model to it. So you also have your own trucks.
Our owner was very smart. So in December of 21, he decided, hey, we're going to go purchase some MCs.
Right.
We want on the asset side. We've got an MC older than JB Hunt's on both the asset and the brokerage side. They were both in great standings, and a decent fleet. 200 trucks, 600 trailers, and we primarily really focused on the Western 11, including Texas. So that's where our core asset network is.
Yeah. So I mean, what it does is it allows you to go in and do those RFPs that you wouldn't normally get if you were just a straight 3PL, correct?
I've got to say, the most fun thing I've ever done professionally was selling and learning this when you start realizing you're good and catching momentum. Now I'm on the asset side for the first time in my life, and I've got to tell you, I feel like I have a cheat sheet. I feel like I have almost zero sales resistance compared to the world I came from. So it's been very fun to really lead with that, because now I don't have to sell, really. It's all conversational. It's just like, hey, this is what I do. Really come in with a few targeted questions for
well, and I'm just going to be honest with you, and let's jump right to it. You have trucks.
I have trucks.
And what is it every shipper needs?
Shipper needs it. A broker needs it.
Everybody needs it.
Everybody
needs a truck, right? And a driver to drive the truck.
And a driver to drive it.
Yeah. And ultimately, that's where it comes down to.
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you something, and I was looking through here and stuff like that. Let me get to this, and let me ask you a question. You've been in the industry a little while. What is your take? So here at BCB Live, our fundamental is we're the safest station in the nation. And I know that a lot of companies facilitate and want service. They look at service as the gap by which you're judged by.
Yep.
Where do you put safety in that ranking?
Personally, or just how
No, I mean professionally, personally,
personally?
all of it.
So it's
You're wearing my hat,
yeah,
by the way.
it's a great question. I don't think prior till probably the pandemic, I ever even gave it a thought, because I just assume when you're not involved in that day to day or working with truckers or the drivers, you kind of just assume things go according to plan. Oh, it's just a truck. It picks up at point A, gets to point B, and like as expected, and like that's that.
That's what you would think.
Then after, really becoming more in tune with our industry and really what goes into it, you read the horror stories of drivers pulling out in front of what you call the kill zone of a driver and just slamming on it, realizing they're going to plow, like it's over because they didn't understand certain things. I mean, safety wasn't involved. I have not given it enough thought until semi-recently to understand like how actually important it is.
Well, so first of all, just so you know, BCB, and you're wearing the hat, I want you to understand what it means. BCB stands for be safe, communicate, and if you can, be on time.
I love that.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that everybody understands in this industry the most important thing out there is that everybody be safe. Everybody gets home. The public is safe and protected. We're doing everything we can in our power to educate both driver and person out there on how important safety is. And it sounds to me like you have wonderful relationships and that your development of these relationships is fantastic. I encourage you, I'm asking you to go out there and make sure that no matter when and how you do it, you mention safety in all of them.
I accept that challenge.
Yeah, I think it's important because we have to change the way this industry looks.
Correct.
For all of us. If we want this industry to continue and we want it to grow and we want it to be the strength and where it is in this industry, we want to make sure that, and I like it when young people get involved and they're drawn to it and they're getting it, right? They're getting in,
Yeah.
you're in.
Yep.
Right? You're already in. And when you get here, I want you to armor yourself with the most important aspect of trucking. And that's how important it is to be safe. And I'm telling you that because these men and women that are behind the wheel, they have the effect. They're running around in 80,000-pound vehicles on our highways and byways of this country. And I believe it to be all of our responsibility in the education process and the necessary arrangement. And I'm not taking away from what you do, and I'm adding to what I believe is necessary in your armor. And in your cause. I want you to be a sounding board for safety when you get out there, because you have the BCB hat, you have the BCB shirt. So I'm going to invite you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm inviting him to stay through the show. He's going to sit through the show. We're going to have safety in here in a second. The safety is going to come in here. You're going to sit through safety. We're going to watch videos together.
Do that.
Yeah, we're going to watch from and by the way, all these videos are sent in from yesterday.
Okay.
They're not old videos. They're not ancient videos.
I'm not going to get some 80s.
No, you're not getting something. No,
dial-
you're
man,
getting
okay.
current videos.
Fair enough.
And we're going to talk about some of the videos. We're going to talk about some of the aspects of safety, and we're going to continue to talk about how important these things are in our industry. And we try to find those points because I think it is yours. So to me, safety is everyone's responsibility. And I'm using this opportune moment here on the show to get you involved in it. So you're going to go jumping in with both feet today. You're in the show today. You're going to watch. You're going to be here with the safety directors here. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk. We're going to watch some stuff. And for the next 15, 20 minutes, you're going to get exposed to safety.
I would love that because I have not had enough of it.
Yeah, you haven't had enough of it. You're going to get a chance to be a part of it. I want you to do me a favor. The next time you go out, I want you to start one of your meetings with a safety message.
Okay.
And it can be distracted driving. It can be wearing a seatbelt. It can be just something simple.
Okay.
But start your meeting. Say, hey, I'd like to start the meeting with a message of safety, because I think it's all our responsibility. And if I can win it from the shippers, and I can win it from the receivers, and I can win it from the owners, I can win it from the owner of companies, all the way down to the guy working the dock. I believe we truly are going to make a difference in this industry. Cause
you can revolutionize it, quite literally.
No, it has to be done. If we want this to succeed, you already know there are financial corporations investing in lawyers to go after. All their job is to do is to try to make money from trucking companies involved in wrecks. They've got millions of dollars backing them.
Yep.
To go after
a lot
these.
Of resources.
A lot of resources for us when all we have to do is educate ourselves on safety. I mean,
there's no truckload of commodities worth a human life.
Not one.
Not one.
Not one. It's just not that important. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to man, I tell you what, thank you so much. Now, we're going to close this segment, and then we're going to go to safety. But before we close the segment, I want you to say something for me. I want you to state your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Say it right to that camera right there.
Hayden Allred, Enterprise Sales Director at TruckBook, and you are live, BCB, safest station in the nation.
All right.